My name is Sophie and I'm a student at Michigan, and today I'm going to be telling you how I got into the Stamps School of Art and Design. I'm a junior and I've been wanting to make this video literally since I was a freshman, but I thought I would take a rainy day and show you guys how I got in. I'm going to go through 3 different things, which I think are all very important parts of applying to Michigan. The first one is events. Things you can do before you even apply. The second one is your actual portfolio. The third one is the Common App or your application as a whole. The first thing I did was start looking for ways that I could get involved before I even got to Michigan. A really good way that you can get involved before you even apply is to go to a portfolio review, which these are events that are held all over the country. The one that I went to was held in Boston. Basically, you show up to almost a convention where lots of different schools are representing their art programs, and the kids from all over the place come and like flood the room, and everyone has their portfolios and everyone is asking each other questions. There's like RISD, Carnegie Mellon, and Stamps was also there, so I went to see that booth, and basically what I did was wait in line for an hour. It's kind of funny, there's people with like massive canvases like sleeping on the ground in line, but it's worth it because you get first-hand opinions and feedback from the school you want to apply to before you even submit your portfolio. There's also time in between that and applying usually where you can edit, take things out, and the different schools will critique and tell you kind of like a preview or an insight into what they're going to be looking for when they apply. It's actually like the admissions team looking at your stuff, so they might even remember you. I think as much as you can, going to these events is helpful because you're showing your face, and if you have a good attitude and you seem like enthusiastic about the school and your own work, then they're gonna want you. Okay, so not only can you go to the portfolio reviews, but there's also these things called pre-college programs through Stamps, which are basically ways that you get to go to Michigan before you even get into Michigan. I went to the 2-week I did one called Portfolio Prep, which was probably the most fun of my junior year of high school in 2 weeks. It was the most work that I actually produced as an artist in a 2-week span, and the most like connections I made with other artists. Basically what it is you're a college student at Stamps for 2 weeks, but you're also prepping to get your portfolio ready to apply to Michigan. So the entire time you are working side by side with the admissions team, which is scary but also so cool because you get to talk to them, you get to just hang out with them. We went to the Detroit Institute of Arts, we went to the Botanical Garden, we went to the Heidelberg Project in Detroit. Basically what would happen is you would wake up in the morning and you would work all day until lunch, and then you would work until 11 at night. And it sounds like a lot, but really you're in the studios, which you don't even get until you're senior in Stamps if you're a Bachelor of Fine Art. So we were basically having this like incredible space to create our work in all morning and all night, and in between that we would just go insane. Like I think I went to sleep at 4 a.m. every single night that I was there. So a lot of the pieces that we actually made in the pre-college program I actually used in my portfolio, which was a big goal of the program. Before I go into showing you guys my portfolio, I just want to say, like, if there's any kind of program on the Stamps website that you can be involved in before even applying, I would highly recommend that, because I genuinely believe that that's a massive part of why people get in, is because they're side by side working with the admissions team, they're being seen, they're putting a face to your artwork, and they're seeing you in the middle of your process. So I found that very helpful, I think, during my process of applying to Michigan. Next, I'm gonna expose myself and I'm gonna show you my portfolio. First of all, I think for artists it's a little different because as an art student, your entire application of your portfolio, it's a little more intimidating because you're putting a lot of your work just up front for everyone to see. It's just very different because everything that you've created in order to get into the University of Michigan and everything that you've made that represents you as an artist is being flat out displayed in front of these in front of the admissions team, which I wouldn't let that intimidate you. You should be confident in your work. If you're applying to an art school, you shouldn't feel like anything is personal if you don't get in somewhere, different schools are looking. I'm going to show you guys my portfolio. To start off, Stamps has this really weird word they like to use when looking for good applications for portfolios, and that word is breadth, which I think is the weirdest word, but like basically what it means is they're looking for well-rounded media included in your portfolio. They don't want to see all of the same things. Say you're a photographer, you're gonna have to like put in some sketches, put in some still lifes and other things that they're looking for. Stamps is an interdisciplinary undergraduate program, so that means they're looking for people who can exercise skills in a lot of different areas of design. So we're gonna start out with my first piece. I'm just gonna quickly walk through these because there's a lot of them. But okay, so this is the first one. I actually made this one at the pre-college program. It's a massive piece. It's like almost this big. I don't know if you can see that. But this is charcoal and Conte crayon. This is one of the still lifes that I submitted using a different media that I'm comfortable with. As an artist, I usually create digital or acrylic pieces. This is a piece of food. This is a piece of multiple pieces of food that I painted from acrylic. This is actually a still life that I wanted to include because I thought it was a good demonstration of acrylic medium. This is a piece that I included that was more of like a graphic piece. As you can see, this piece is very different from the other ones I've showed you so far, but like I said, they want to see a lot of variety when you apply to stamps. At first I thought this was a little too simple and I wouldn't want to like waste showing off the other work that I made by including this piece, but then when I went to the portfolio review, they said this was one of my strongest pieces. They also said that about this piece, which is a gouache painting that I made. This one obviously demonstrates more of like an abstract visualization than the other ones that are still lifes. This is a portrait that I included that was featured in the Museum of Art in Maine. This is an interesting one. This was definitely an interesting piece. I didn't think I would like include this, but this was a tattoo that I designed for somebody that they actually got it tattooed on their arm. So that's like a piece I thought was kind of more outside of the box because you're showing your skills in different mediums and forms. This is actually a video of the process of a digital collage that I created for someone. I chose to submit it. Stamps professors will always come back to wanting to see your process. They want to see not just the end result, but how you got there and all the work that you put in to get there. This is a album cover, a digital album cover that I created for a metal band in high school. So I thought that one was a very different context, so I wanted to include this one. I mean, it's clearly very different style than the rest of my work, which tends to be more like bubbly. This piece is very different in my portfolio because this was a pool that I actually tiled to look like an octopus in my house in Maine. I thought of it as just kind of like a cool like project that I did with my family while we were building our house, but then I realized almost right before I was applying that this would be the perfect thing to include because it's a lot more of a large-scale project and in a completely different medium than all the other things I submitted. This piece actually is more of like a social experiment. It was an interactive poster that I hung up in the city of Portland where I lived at the time in Maine, where people could walk up and kind of collaborate with strangers on this little project. So I kind of submitted this with two pieces side by side because I felt that it showed like the process of it. This is another collage I made. This is actually mixed media. It's acrylic and marker on top of a paper collage. This is a digital illustration that I thought represented perspective well. This piece is different because it's more of like an educational poster, so it's kind of representing more of like graphic design aspects rather than like painterly mediums. This is another one that they said definitely include in your portfolio at the review. I totally thought I would scrap this one first if anything. So sometimes it's best to get professional feedback before thinking you know best because every school is looking for something different. So my advice would be before you scrap something or decide very permanently on something you want to include in your portfolio, ask professional opinions first. They know. They've been around. Okay, and then the last one, you're gonna think this is ridiculous because like how the heck is this included in like a University of Michigan application in any form? But this is a piece that I made that in like for fun with some friends. It's actually just a volcano that you can hook a smoke machine up to. It's like a sculpture made out of clay and aluminum foil and paint. So that's my portfolio. Everyone's looks different. Just be confident in it. Make sure that it covers all the requirements on the portfolio list. There's a place to include a caption. Make sure that you really explain yourself on each of your pieces in your portfolio when you submit it on SlideRoom because that's like the context that you can give the viewer. Okay, and the last part that I have is the application itself. Your portfolio is what will get you in with the supplement of your ACT score or your SAT score and your essay. That is what they told me at Stamps personally, is that it's your work and what your work means and how much process you put into those pieces that will get you in more than your SAT score. You are an art student, you're not here to do math. Of course that's important. You need to make sure that you're taking your best work and submitting that, but at the same time I would focus more on your portfolio, because that's really the body of your application, as along with your essay. I would consult with a lot of people before writing your essay. Really, your essay is your chance to like show them who you are besides your scores and your art. Pick something you're really passionate about. Make sure that they know who you are by the end of that piece of paper. Tell them why you deserve to be at Michigan through your personality. You know, just like kill it. Just do your best, bro. Like, they're not gonna reject you if you have really cool art and you're like smart, you know? The number one point is, if you are passionate about what you're doing, you're showing them your best work and you're connecting with as many people as you can before you even apply, they're going to notice you and they're going to want to have you in the school. They want to have students that are passionate and hardworking to represent them and to make amazing work that they can show. Stamps is so incredible because you get literally the entire university experience and you get an incredible art school. You can leave any questions you have in the comments. I genuinely will answer them. I love responding to your guys' questions. Good luck with your applications, and I hope this helped and I hope you get in.